Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Jingle bell, hit right in the face. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very special pre-Christmas NXT after show. Since, unfortunately, we're going to be gone. We're off the next 2 weeks.
Well, that's just how the chips roll, man.
I know.
Sometimes these things fall on Thursday, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. Although it will be a great Christmas present to have maybe a new episode. Yeah, a new episode of NXT.
If they did it for Thanksgiving, I imagine they'll do it over the holiday.
They talked about how they have matches next week, so unless they messed it up somehow, that's going to happen.
I mean, they did a full taping. I mean, full disclosure, they did a full taping, and so we ought to have new matches.
I like it. I'm your host, Kathy Kelly. Joining me, as always, True Hobo.
Alone. Weirdly. But don't worry, I saw Mark last night.
He's alive?
He's alive. He did the Epic Meal Empire after show with me.
I was worried.
Much to my fright, he was completely clean shaven.
Wow.
When he walked into the studio, I literally said to him, "Who the hell are you?"
You didn't recognize him.
I did not.
We called Santa, thought one of his elves escaped, but
exactly.
Just Mark.
A very large, 6'4" elf?
6'4" elf.
He builds the TVs.
He's Buddy.
What if Santa were like gigantic? What if he were like 7 feet tall and all the elves were giant to us but like small to him?
Just normal people.
Like, yeah, what if that were the thing? No one ever takes that into account. Everybody thinks elves are small. What if they're like small in comparison to him?
Thor killed the frost giants, okay? So
I'm not calling them frost giants.
So NXT.
Yeah. Back to the topic at hand.
Yes. We are a week out, or we just had the very special NXT Our Evolution.
A complete and utter blowout. Everyone's minds were fried after that.
Yeah. As they said on tonight's episode, it was one of the best specials that NXT has ever had.
One of the best four specials.
But it was incredible.
I mean, people are talking that it was possibly show of the year, matches of the year.
We're still talking about it a week later, and we have a show to recap tonight.
I think we'll be recovering from that last special for a while.
Yeah, until the next special.
Until the next one.
So first off tonight, Neville comes out, and he says that Sammy should be there, not because he's not there because of Kevin Owens, and Owens and Neville are actually going to fight tonight.
I think, actually, this is perfect. Neville himself said that Sammy deserved this and he deserved to be here tonight, but he wasn't because of one man, Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Kevin Owens basically came out and said, if you have a problem with that, then I'll fight you right now, right here tonight. Make it happen. I don't care.
Yeah. Who did you equate Kevin's... I guess, like, his debut to? You said someone. I forgot.
Let's talk about that a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Tonight. After this match, I got a feeling after this.
Okay. I mean, everyone, I feel like he just blew up social media last week with his debut, and
I mean, he made such an impact that he was on the intro this week. He had one match, and they beat up the champion and they put him in the intro. That is how effective this guy is.
We talked about this a little bit last week, but how does that leave room for guys who are maybe not as established, but came into NXT around the same time or just prior to the guys like Kevin Owens, Hideo Itami,
I'll tell you,
Finn Balor?
It puts them in a rough spot. We were talking about it last week. It's one of those things, it's not necessarily about a pecking order, though there sort of is. There are people who've been there longer, but it's about progression.
Yeah.
It's about the office, so to speak, feeling that you are ready to get into that ring and perform at the highest level possible.
Yeah.
Some of the people who've been there longer aren't up to snuff, so to speak. From what we saw of Kevin Owens last week, and then this week, the man's ready to run with the ball. No wonder he's in that ring.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like at the end of the day, it is a business. Sometimes as fans, we forget that.
I'll tell you, the fans are the ones who are happy about this.
Oh, completely.
It's the other guys in the back who are maybe not so happy.
Well, I think that there are some watchers who they see these guys who they think are great, and they've seen them on NXT for months, years, however long it is, and they're like, well, they deserve to go up to the main roster. And then you have other guys that come in and are, literally main eventing their first or second week.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like you said, it's a business.
It's a business,
It's
yeah.
not necessarily about what's fair or what's right. This is a proving ground for a lot of guys. A lot of guys who should be in the main roster are still in NXT. And guess what? There's a reason for that. There's something about the stepping stone between NXT and the main roster that they just cannot seem to handle. Either it's people telling them that they're not ready, or they themselves being not as well equipped to handle the road life that the main roster has for them.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first match of the night, Bayley versus Becky Lynch. I've been loving Becky lately. I think she's a great, she teeters the line of like crazy but also aggressive very well.
Right. I mean, it's positivity. It's weird to be able to beat somebody with positivity. Becky Lynch being sort of the antithesis to this. In her pre-match promo tonight, she said, it doesn't matter if the fans are cheering for you if you're losing night in and night out. And literally, Bayley's the opposite of that. She thinks that all the people should be happy. Win or lose, everybody should go home happy.
I like that, though.
It's a nice philosophy. It's really nice, but it doesn't always get you the win.
It does not, and it did not tonight.
Not tonight.
Becky Lynch ended up beating Bayley via submission, just a cross ankle.
It was just a pretty simple submission, which sort of drove home the fact that Bayley's knee is not right, and maybe she should not have been in that ring. Bayley was just taking it to Becky Lynch tonight. Just took her to the woodshed. Becky couldn't get a shot off. And then finally, she gets a little bit of daylight going for that leg and manages to tie it up, and Bayley taps in due time because of the sensitivity of those torn ligaments.
Anything else you want to mention from this match?
There's not much to mention.
I know.
Other than a question of where do you go from here?
Well, it's weird. This is actually what's mentioned after the match. We have a rematch of last week's women's match between Charlotte and Sasha for what reason? Next week? I think that was an incredible match. I just don't understand.
I don't believe in matches for no reason, especially title matches. There's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
If you are a champion and you lose your title, you are automatically awarded a rematch.
You get a rematch.
That's how things work. But for the loser who did not gain a championship, to get an automatic rematch is somewhat baffling.
And they really didn't address it tonight. They did. They just didn't say why.
They just said, "Oh, there's a rematch."
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I'm not happy for it. It was a great match between the two of them, but I don't know. I'm scratching my head in disbelief. Why? I don't know.
You go against the champion and you lose, someone else should have a shot, right?
Go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
That's generally how it works. And then you have to beat everybody coming back up, and then you're number one contender, and then you face them again. That's how everything works.
Yeah.
So why she just gets to hop back to the front of the line?
I would almost rather see Charlotte versus Becky Lynch next week. Becky almost win, Sasha get pissed off, and then Sasha say, well, let's see who's the better one between us two. Sasha wins, and then she gets to face Charlotte again. That at least progresses it.
I think you have just written a fantastic storyline.
Thank you, but they already taped.
Yeah, they kind of did that. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
We did breeze over something that I don't think we
Breeze
intended
over
to.
something?
Yes, it was a Tyler Breeze backstage selfie promo. Says he's going to be taking some time off, sadly.
I know.
And that he's going to be modeling in Europe, but he will be posting updates.
Is he injured, or we just don't know?
I don't believe that he is.
If you guys know at home, please let us know in the comments or tweet at us, because I haven't heard anything, but...
Well, doesn't mean that nothing happened.
Yeah. He may just... they may not have a storyline for him right now because there have been so many debuts, but I would love to see him in any capacity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got such a strong character that he could face off with darn near anybody. And
It's
get
weird.
memorable.
I mean, he was #1 contender not too long ago.
And that didn't last
where
very
did that
long.
go, though?
I know.
It's unfortunate.
I know.
And he was on Raw when all of the guys had their match. That was great.
And I loved his
that.
entrance on the big screen, baby. That giant, beautiful face.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You love it.
Yep.
So, yeah, we already talked about this. Renee backstage with Charlotte. They say it was last week. And she mentioned how it was such a whirlwind going from her match on Raw to our Evolution, her match with Sasha. And then they announced that they have a rematch next week.
I mean, it's pretty surprising that she retained, seeing as she lost to Natalya on Raw.
Yeah.
But that is what it is.
That was a little bit disappointing. A lot of it disappointing.
There's a lot to making live television and a 3-hour show that you really can't quite understand.
I do think I was overwhelmingly excited to see Charlotte on Raw with the title belt. Like, that, such a cool moment. I know, like, you could tell even during her promo, she was like, she seemed real in her excitement for all the things that have happened to her the last week.
She did seem overwhelmed, and I do think that they must have filmed that right after the match, and the elation that she must have received backstage for her performance, she must have been overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I know I would be. Yeah, had I wrestled a match of that caliber, I would have been a little misty myself.
Yeah. So after this, the Vaudevillains confront Regal, actually, about having a rematch as well. This was explained, though. There was a mishap in their match last week. Aiden English, I think he was pinned, but it wasn't.
No, Simon Gotch was pinned,
but
Aiden
Adrian
English was outside.
I almost said Adrian
right.
again. Aiden English was the legal man.
And outside.
Yeah. So Regal looks at the video, and they're going to get another match against the Lucha Dragons.
It's quite a blunder by the referee to make this sort of mistake, and Regal said that it will be addressed with the referee in question.
Yeah.
I do not remember now who it was, but that person has got to watch out for their job. I mean, this is probably... You screw up on that level, it's last and final, buddy.
Yeah. But this makes sense for a rematch.
Right.
There's a reason behind it.
I mean,
I'm excited to see it again. I'm excited to see both matches again, but this, yeah.
It almost sounds like they had this planned.
Oh, completely.
So
I think they did,
they
honestly.
must have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. Love them Vaudevillains.
So we have Bull Dempsey versus a dude.
Some poor schmo who got mowed down.
Yeah. I just wrote, bye, no name.
Bye-bye.
Bull wins.
What did I call him? The youngster.
The youngster.
Yes.
And then Baron Corbin comes out. No name number 2. 14-second match.
Read the back of his tights. It was Riz, R-Y-Z, like Resnick or, I don't know.
Rizback?
Rizback, yes. Sporting the, Kid Rock haircut from about 1980 some odd.
I'm surprised you got that good a look at him, because the match was so short.
Actually, the only real noticeable thing about him was his hair. Because you could see that from behind and from the front. I don't even think we saw his face during this match, come to think of it. We just saw his hair.
Yeah. Might have to watch it again.
For what?
I don't know.
14 seconds out of your life, I guess you could spare.
Yeah. I don't know. So Bull Dempsey is actually still on the ramp and watching.
I mean, it would have
this all go
taken him.
down.
It would have taken him the entire match to walk back to the dressing room. So why not just
True.
stick around?
Yeah, so he watched the match, and then after, this is when we finally get the confrontation that we've all been waiting for. It's been building up just a little bit. Bull ends up pushing Baron Corbin, and then, like, hops off the ramp, so smug, walks away, like... tension is just built.
Daring Corbin, but sort of backing off himself, sort of looking like a coward, but a man with a plan, daring the other man to sort of cross the line with him, so to speak.
Like a sneaky coward, like he's a step ahead.
Yeah.
So he might actually
he could have
the
like
upper
a
hand.
pipe,
Yeah.
like stashed away over there. They would have just cracked Corbin in the head with.
Did you expect him to be the more heelish one out of the two?
No. The man can move, he can maneuver in that ring. He's a bulldozer technician, you know?
A bulldozer?
He's a bulldozer of a technician. The man can move in the ring, but then he plows right over his opponents. I think this guy should be getting cheered. There are plenty of people on the wonderful interwebs that disagree with me. Please feel free to comment.
That's what the internet's for.
Absolutely.
People disagreeing.
There's plenty of opinions out there, and they all stink. But Baron Corbin, there's something about him. I have to admit it. There's something captivating in just him. They make him desirable. As simple as he is, you want to see him. I think it's the production.
Yeah.
You know, you can argue that Bo Dempsey is a wrestler, but Baron Corbin is something above that. Baron Corbin is he's the lone wolf. He's something you can try to define him as that, but it's different than just a wrestler. Either he's a biker or he's this outlaw or he's this maniac on the fringe of society. But either way, that makes him interesting.
Yeah.
A little bit more interesting than just another wrestler.
Yeah. So Enzo and Cass and Carmella come out after this, and great promo. I mean, the 12 days of Fistmas?
They started at 7.
Did they? I thought
They
it was
did.
12, and then they jumped to 6.
I don't remember 12.
I don't know.
Maybe 6. I don't know. It doesn't
Anyways,
matter.
it was great, regardless.
Dudes are solid.
Yeah.
Always solid on the mic.
I get so excited every time I hear their music.
Well, because these
It's
guys are
good.
excited, especially Enzo.
It's contagious. That's what it is. Yeah.
They've got that thing that if you could bottle it, man, you could fly to the moon.
And I really do feel like Carmella fits in so seamlessly with them.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty well. I mean, she doesn't necessarily do much, but tonight she was intricate in their unfortunate downfall.
Yeah, they had a match against the Ascension. Enzo, of course, still trying to impress Carmella, gets in the ring, backfires, and Victor pins him for the win. Right after that, Connor knocks Cass off the apron, and that is that.
Love makes you do stupid things.
That it does.
You do not tag yourself in when the big man is working. Let Cass do all of the heavy lifting. Come in to pick the guy apart when he's down. Enzo wanted to look like the big guy to impress the pretty girl, and I'm gonna beat him up. You dead now? Nope, you ain't going nowhere, buddy.
Yeah. So, this was something that was kind of suggested by someone on Twitter to me, but Carmella eventually picking Cass over Enzo, which leads them to feud.
Oh, very, very Hardys.
That would be sad, but I could see it happening.
I don't.
She does. She flirts more with Cass.
Right, but my problem is Enzo's always the one taking the punishment. He can never really quite dish it out. So what sort of quality confrontation are you going to get from a 7-foot guy and a little guy who can't quite seem to put his feet in front of the other and deliver a proper offense?
He's quick. He's smart.
Is he, though?
He can attack Cass with words.
Right, and then Cass is going to take his size 16 boot and plow right into Enzo's face and make it look like a hamburger.
Like a hamburger.
Like a hamburger.
I'm so hungry right now.
Grill marks and everything.
So hungry.
I am too. Yeah.
The Ascension gets on the mic, and Victor says the war against Hideo and Finn is not over.
Surprising to me, because they lost
I thought
in
it was
rather
over, yeah.
ceremonious fashion. It was pretty, devastating, their loss. Double stomps in unison.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out what the hell that means.
Rematches for everyone.
Yay!
You get a rematch, and you get a rematch, and you get a rematch. It's Oprah's Christmas special.
No,
Slash NXT.
No. Slash NXT. Yes. It's Regal's Christmas special. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just,
Blah. Everyone gets a rematch.
Everybody.
It'll be a good match. It just happened
that
already.
Sort of is how things kind of tend to go. After a large show, there are rematches abound.
You know what? I think that this would have been fine 5-10 years ago in wrestling when you didn't have DVR or a network where you can watch everything on demand. If you needed to see a rematch, you could see it. That's a reason. But now, since everything is on demand, like they were even saying on commentary tonight, they're like, if you missed the special last week, you better go back and watch it because it was crazy. You can see these matches again.
It sort of creates a difficult scenario for wrestlers. They always have to up themselves in some way.
Yeah.
Some way making things different with a rematch.
Yeah.
I myself have had many rematches, and each time I've had to sort of dig deeper and find new things to do, which is good. I actually prefer a rematch to a first-time outing, both to watch and to do, because you have that experience on the ring with a particular opponent.
Yeah.
You know how to counter their moves in a certain way. But let's not poo-poo it just yet. No. Let's see how it turns out. Maybe this will be for the best. You never know what could happen.
Should we pick at the end of the show which we both think will be the best of the 3 rematches?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay.
All right.
Last but not least, Neville versus Kevin Owens in the main event.
There wasn't a whole lot of wrestling going on tonight, particularly.
Yeah,
but
a lot of talking.
Holy crap. Just yes. All just yes. 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 This was great.
Yeah, and I mean, you said this yourself. You're like, matches don't end in draws. It happens, but it's rare.
Very rare. And it means something when it does. It really does. It means both guys are trying their best to outdo one another, and sometimes it's not about the win or the loss. Sometimes guys just gotta take it until it runs out of juice, you know? And that's what happened tonight.
So where does it go from here, then? Where do both of these guys go?
It's gotta be a rematch.
Yeah.
Well,
it doesn't have to
you
be.
say that, but Neville was bounced off the apron with a power bomb in real, just bone clattering.
What if Kevin Owens just every person that he faces or beats down, he just like sends them off the roster for like 3 weeks, and they're gone, and then they start coming back.
Honestly,
slowly.
Kevin Owens is a guy who is not just a fighter, and he says he's a fighter. He's a guy who has a plan, because behind every great fight that you watch, be it UFC or boxing or whatever, there's a game plan in place from either opponent. Now, Owens' game plan in this match was to stay away from Neville. Just stay away from him. His offense is great. You can't catch him. Stay away from him. So every opportunity Neville starts getting a little momentum, Owens is out. Just out, taking his time. He did this maybe 4 or 5 times, and then Neville, fed up, with no reason to stay in the ring, slides out. Owen completely takes over, takes him out on the outside, and begins his domination from there on forward. It's smart. He knew that Neville wasn't going to stay in that ring. He was hot.
Yeah.
He was hot, and he was going to make a mistake, and that's when the plan worked.
I mean, we saw his promo, when was it, a couple weeks ago, where he was talking about how he has experience with a lot of these guys. He's like, I worked with so-and-so. I, did training with so-and-so.
14 years.
So when you've worked with these guys, you kind of know their moves and how to counter that.
Yeah.
So that could be, how he rises to the top. Is
But
he's just
he
smart
couldn't
about it.
necessarily counter Neville.
No, I know.
Because Neville's so fast.
But I mean, just knowing how he works.
Right.
And knowing, your opponent's Achilles heel, so to speak.
Right. And in this case, rage. Rage is a heck of an Achilles heel. It'll make a man do stupid things and make mistakes which he can capitalize on, just like in this match. Still, just a great match. Very, very back and forth. No clue which way it was going to go.
Definitely. This was a great, I guess, week after NXT special. Just reintroducing a lot of storylines, but
it takes time to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like hitting that peak, that precipice that you finally make, because all of your energy gears toward that special, and you finally make it, and you sort of drop off and go, well, where do we go from here?
I really do
it's a rebuilding period.
I enjoy, I feel like with NXT, having those 4 specials a year, it makes for a better product, because after every single one, they can hit that reset button. And I feel like the writers of NXT, I don't know if this is actually true, but it seems like the writers of NXT, they know what they want 3 months from now for that next special, and they're writing backwards from it, as opposed to just writing and keeping it on air every,
That's a
every week.
Good point, and maybe they do. Maybe they have at least a cursory outline of what they would like to see. But wrestling is one of those things where anything could happen at any time. The plan you want is not necessarily what you're going to get in the end, because people get hurt, things change, stuff like that. So it's hard to set the goal and actually really reach it if it's a long-term goal like that. But seeing as it's 3 months, it's doable. But again, they are working a lot, and anybody can get hurt at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our conclusion of our after show.
Well, do we want to pick the rematches?
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, we have the Vaudevillains versus the Lucha Dragons.
Yep.
Charlotte versus Sasha.
Yep.
And what was the third one?
Well, it's what was the third one? Ascension versus Tommy and Balor.
Yes. Which one are you thinking is going to be the best?
I've got it. Well, at least the way my brain is functioning and working things out, I got to go with the Vaudevillains versus the Lucha Dragons.
Okay.
Just because, I don't know, there's some story here, and their match had a storied finish to it. It's that moment when Aiden English pushed Simon Gotch out of the way and took both Lucha Dragons onto him at the same time. Very, very chivalrous. That was a gentleman's move if ever I'd seen one. So I would like to see something more of that. Now, Sasha Banks and Charlotte, again, I don't know where that could go. The match was so damn good.
The match was incredible.
Where do you go?
All of those matches were great. I would say my prediction, this isn't the question that was asked, but I think that the Lucha Dragons versus the Vaudevillains is the only match that's going to have a different outcome.
Yeah, okay. Does that mean the Vaudevillains will become the NXT Tag Team Champions?
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm of a like mind.
Okay.
It would make things interesting.
Yeah.
But you don't think that Sasha Banks could possibly win the NXT Women's Championship?
I have no doubt that she will eventually. I just don't think that Charlotte's reign is over.
You feel she's too strong?
Yes.
She's too much in her stride right now that it cannot be broken.
Yeah.
But what about Tommy and Balor and the Ascension? What else could we see from them?
The Ascension just looks so... I don't know. They don't look that strong right now.
They look sadly human. Mm-hmm. Human is a curable condition, but for them it seems like they need to call somebody, perhaps a witch doctor.
And this old Ascension, where it was like very mysterious and
I do too. Although
killing people.
Have you seen their vignettes on WWE main roster television?
No.
Really? It's very much akin to old-style tag team promos.
Okay.
Demolition and the Road Warriors, that type of thing. A lot of screaming! A lot of, we're going to destroy everything! And honestly, I don't know if I like it, because I sort of miss what they were, and this isn't what they were. It's sort of something that's not what they are or they were.
Yeah.
I miss the coats. I miss the big coats and the high collars. I miss the jet black eyes of Victor.
Yeah. Miss a lot of things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just not as good. Well, I mean, but you never know what could happen. It might be good. I think they need a mouthpiece.
Okay.
I do. I don't know who the hell it could be. You need somebody somewhat otherworldly, or somebody who can rein them in. A strong personality, like a Zeb Coulter, but
but not Zeb Coulter.
From the outskirts of society.
Yeah.
He's from like the woods somewhere, of some sort of bunker in the middle of nowhere with a ton of guns. They need somebody who's like.
Would it be super cheesy if they had something a la, obviously not funny like this, but Wizards of Oz, where you have the guy who you never see? It's just the green face, the wizard, essentially, like
the wizard.
Yeah,
but he would have to play a part in matches. That would be the hard part.
Well, it wouldn't be playing a part in matches; it just talks for them. Well, I guess it's time for us to wrap up.
We're talking. No respect around here.
We are actually, as I mentioned at the top of the show, going to be off for the next 2 weeks because Thursdays fall on Christmas and New Year's, unfortunately, and the studio is closed those days. But we will be back the first week of January. I know.
What will they do?
Please tweet us. Like, let us know how you feel about the next couple weeks episodes. Of course, leave us comments on our YouTube video tonight. Subscribe to us on iTunes. And where can they find you in the meantime?
Boy, I gotta do all the plugs tonight.
Yeah,
usually,
you do.
Me and the big man would split it, but now I gotta literally plug everything, which is really hard.
Take a huge breath and do it.
Okay, on Twitter, it's @TrueHobo. ProWrestlingTees.com is the t-shirts if you want a Soapbox Card t-shirt. That's soapboxcardtv.spreadshirt.com. We got a lot of great stuff for all you wrestling fans and, internet geek type people. YouTube.com/SoapboxCardTV is the comedy show gimmick thing. We're doing a special all week long. We had a match this week with Santa versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Maybe match of the year for Picto Pro Wrestling. It was really that darn good. BoxcarSuperstar.com is my own personal website. Go to it. God, I'm tired. I'm running out of air.
You can find me on Twitter @Catherine Kelly. You can find me on Instagram @Kathy Kelly.
I forgot one more thing.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I'm wrestling on Sunday. Last show of the year.
Come see him.
And Adam Pearce will be there, and I'm fighting I don't care who.
You can find all of us here on Twitter and Instagram @AfterBuzzTV. Like I said, we will be back in January with Mark, of course.
Of course.
And until then, we hope you have a great holidays, and we'll see you next year.
Sayonara.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.